This is my book cover, Black Matters, a comprehensive overview of the state of Black America from a historic, scientific, and social perspective. That's young me on the back, and that's me striving right now to develop and redevelop the God self, and that's going to be out early next year. This is the flyer for our radio show, Tuesdays and Thursdays, Professor Griff and Zaza Ali. It comes on 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you check us out. And we also do weekly interviews with Brother Rich on YouTube. His YouTube page is Black Magic 363. So check that out as well. These are the shoulders that I'm standing on. I always mention these sisters when I speak because without them, there would be no Zaza Ali. So, of course, Sister Soldier, Ava Muhammad, Marimba Ani, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, who has had the most important impact on my life, Tainetta Muhammad, Queen Afua, and Dr. Joy DeGruy. We all need to be studying these sisters and understanding the power that the scholars and the sisters that are doing the work have right now. So what's really going on in Ferguson? And like Griff always says, we need to start looking in it instead of just looking at it. And a lot of us are stepping back right now and just looking at what's happening instead of actually looking into it. So this is dedicated to Mike Brown as well as Eric Garner. These brothers could have been my cousins, could have been my nephews, could have been, you know, the brothers that I grew up with on the block. Beautiful brothers with endless potential, and they, among others, are being killed and murdered every day in this country. There's a lot of murders that are happening that we're not even talking about. The brother Lennon Lacy was found hanging last month in Bladensboro, North Carolina. I don't have it in here, no, but Google him, look him up. Lennon Lacy, Bladensboro, North Carolina, 17-year-old brother who was involved with a 31-year-old white woman. And they found him hanging, and they said that it's consensual sex in North Carolina at the age of 16. So she wasn't doing anything illegal. But this is another situation. There was a brother named Kody Ingham in Athens, Texas, who was found hanging in front of his white girlfriend's house. So when we talk about, you know, interracial relationships and love who you love, well, when you're a black man, who you love can actually get you killed. So we need to start having that conversation when we talk about interracial relationships. A lot of these young brothers are coming up dead right now because they are involved with European women. And then you never hear anything about the women that they're involved with going to bat for them. Where's his girlfriend? Where's the woman that he was having sex with? The brother who was found, that he was dragged and they found his body with his eyeballs popped out. You remember his name? Alfred Wright? Was that him? Texas, right? In Texas. Yeah, he was, this was, what, last year? It was the story was on CNN, and they said that he was supposedly, so the brother Alfred Wright in Texas, they found his body mutilated and his eyeballs popped out. He was supposedly having an affair with the sheriff's daughter. We ain't heard from her. Where are these women, these white women who've been involved with these brothers? If, you know, if love is love and you love who you love, they should be everywhere, screaming and hollering about these brothers getting justice. So we know of 2 brothers who have been lynched in the past year, and it's much more than that. But just, you know, when we talk about that conversation of interracial relationships, who you love can get you killed in the United States. You want to turn this back around on this? Yes, I was waiting on you as soon as you start. I got you. So now, of course, I'm much love and respect for the family and the legacy of Brother Eric Garner. I told Griff, you know, just being in New York and moving around and seeing how expensive everything is, you gotta have a hustle out here to even survive. It's like, bruh, you can't even go from New Jersey to New York without paying, what was it, $30 in toll? That's crazy. So you gotta have some type of hustle to even be able to survive out here. But, you know, this whole thing now, what we have to understand is this is psychological warfare when every single time they talk about Eric Garner, they keep showing his body, him being murdered over and over and over and over on the news. Bobby Hemmett talked one time, and it's always stuck with me, about us having our children watching movies, slave movies, and different movies that show our people being murdered. We have to stop doing that because it's having an impact on their melanin and having an impact on their mindset. So we think that because we have our children watching the news that they're being informed, but it's impacting them in a negative way to keep seeing Eric Garner murdered over and over and over and over and over again. To keep seeing, you think they left Mike Brown's body out in the ground on the ground for 4.5 hours for no reason? That was intentional. They are instilling fear in our young people. And they keep showing his body over and over in the news every time they talk about the story. So now the Daily News, all of the different media outlets across the world are talking about people being fed up with police brutality and white people joining the cause. And like I said before, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing said, be mindful of Greeks that come bearing gifts. She said we need to start solving our own problems on our own. So at what point do we say, you know what, we appreciate you. We thank you for your help. You want to do something, donate some money to this cause. You can help us financially. But as far as, we know when white people enter the room, our people switch gears. They get scared. They sit up a little bit straighter and start monitoring what they saying, worried about their job. So let's put that to the side and let's come into the room together, close the door and talk amongst ourselves and start talking about strategy. So Black Friday protests. Sales went down 11% and everybody's saying it's a victory, right? We won. But then a couple of days later, they refused to indict the murderer of Eric Garner. This type of conversation right here, and I saw a lot of people talking about this like it was a victory. First of all, they expected the sales to be down because of Cyber Monday. They have a whole new method of shopping using the internet. That's number one. Number two, when you boycott corporations, you're financially hurting the corporations. In order for that to become tangible help to our people, the corporations have to turn around and hire lobbyists. The lobbyists have to turn around and go to the government and appeal for changes in laws. So when we say boycotting is the answer, no, we boycotted for a whole year in Alabama. Shut the whole bus transportation system down. Instead of building our own buses, creating our own transportation systems, we sat back and wait for white people to let us sit on the front of the bus. And then 4 years later, 4 little sisters were blown up in a church in Alabama. So what is it that we're really trying to accomplish here? Do we really just want the approval of white people? We want them to love us. We want them to accept us. We want them to we want to show them how good we are, how we deserve better. Or are we trying to be sovereign people, building our own communities, policing our own streets? Another brother was just killed in Phoenix, Rumain Brisbon, unarmed brother, on his way to take some food to his family. He's dead now. This is after Black Friday. They're getting ready to have trial number 3 for the police officer who killed 7-year-old Aiyana in Detroit. We're not even talking about this. And this is another thing that we have to deal with. I saw a sharp distinction and difference between the way that the Relisha Rudd case, Relisha Rudd and Relisha McBride and Aiyana, how it was handled versus Trayvon Martin and Oscar Grant. The sisters are not getting the type of limelight that the brothers are getting. This is a young 7-year-old child who was murdered by a devil who walked in and just shot her point blank. Why are we not talking about this? Why is Detroit not on fire right now? Dr. Frances Cress Welsing said, until we can talk and deal with the reality of racism, we will continue the cycle of insanity, which goes like this. You kill a black male, then black people protest and call in the spokesperson. That would be Al Sharpton. The ministers come to pray. Black people put out flowers and have a funeral, then wait in vain for a court to render justice. The courts don't render justice, then there's a long pause and the cycle starts again. A white person kills a black person, black people protest, call in the spokesperson, black people scream, pray and shout, flowers and a funeral, and then we wait for the courts to render justice again. For sure, another black person is going to be killed. Now, I say the answer is not for black people to be out in the street acting wild, because the military setup that you see is being set up for black people. You instigate them into rioting. Then you can cart them off and put them in a concentration camp. Our people are being terrorized, fearing an encounter with the police. There has never been a break in time since our people were brought to these shores when black people were not under attack. There has never been a break in time since our people were brought to these shores when black people were not under attack. That's what Ray Hagan should have been telling them young people when he was sitting in that room. Ferguson was a sundown town. This was an area where black people know that after a certain amount of time, they don't need to be outside. These people have been under attack. It says, in a report leaked to the press this week, reports show that while whites make up nearly a third of Ferguson's population, they account for only 12.7% of stops made by the police department last year. In comparison, African Americans made up 93% of arrests following car stops, despite the fact that whites have been noted as more likely to actually contain contraband upon being searched. Our people have been under assault in Ferguson, Missouri. So when you see Mike Brown snatching that dude up in the store, he's probably frustrated as hell. He's probably goes through that every single day of his life. Just coming from the store and walking home. So the King Alfred plan, which all of our people should researching, all of us should know. A new government program was developed by the National Security Council between the years of 1960 and 1964. It's called the King Alfred Plan. The plan details the encampment and extermination of 22 million blacks. That's the number in 1970. It has been solidified by Reagan under Mr. Louis Gritfrida of FEMA. The plan is under the control of FEMA and has been secured under Executive Orders 11490, 11921, and 12148. Now, to all of these people who stand back and disrespect us and talk about we only talking about conspiracy theories, take King Alfred out of your mind and look at what happened to Ferguson, Missouri. They use weapons that they use in Syria and Iraq that they're using in major wars against our people. And we were provoked. They killed our brother. And you got military high-grade equipment that they're using on our people. This is under the guise of the 1033 program, the Department of Defense. It says that the U.S. wanted its police to act like drug warriors, that it equipped them to the tune of around $4.3 billion in equipment. The St. Louis County Police Department's annual budget is around $160 billion. By providing law enforcement agencies with surplus military equipment free of charge, the NDAA encourages police to employ military weapons in military. We're not praying our way out of this. We're not marching our way out of this. We're not protesting our way out of this. I'm not mad at the esoteric meditation, elevating your consciousness and your vibration and your frequency. I'm not mad at this, but that shit's not going to work if they kick your door in. How are you arming your children to be able to protect themselves? How are you arming the sisters when you out fighting in the streets and your wife is at home with your children by herself? How are you arming them to be ready for that? We're not having the real conversations. And this is why I get so frustrated. Because we're not talking about the shit that we really need to be talking about. They in Ferguson. Goggles, standard issue for most troops fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan. Smoke flare tear gas launcher with Ecotech red dot sight. K-bar style fighting knife, standard issue for U.S. Marines. Gas mask, short-barreled AB variant rifle similar to military M4. Camouflage pants, pattern used in Marine Corps. Kevlar helmet with mount for night vision device. Extra magazines for rifle and pistol. Francis Cress Welsing said they are dressed to a T like they are confronting an enemy. Mega AR-15 rifle, chambered in 7.62 millimeter with loophole long-range scope. Bearcat armored vehicle, similar in look to military's MRAP, mine-resistant ambush protected vehicle. For what? Because somebody threw a bottle? Because somebody went up in a store that's got insurance that's going to be covered no matter what and stole some damn cigarettes and liquor? This is what they came to our people with? When is the last time you saw this happen in an Asian community? In an Arab community, in a Latino community? When is the last time you saw them come for them like that? The Ferguson no-fly zone was instituted to keep the media out. They telling us that they intentionally took 37 miles of airspace around the city. The FAA would not allow any airplanes because they knew that they were going to have to handle our people a certain way, and they didn't want it to be put on what they're doing and what they should be doing and what they're not doing. When is the last time you stopped and talked to this brother on the streets? With your smart ass on CNN and MSNBC calling our young people thugs and talking about their rioting. When is the last time you talked to this brother or a brother who looked like that? We sitting back talking, they want peace, but they keep provoking violence. And all we keep talking about is peace, trying to tell our young people what not to do, but you're not telling them what to do. And then they talked about the black businesses that were destroyed. First of all, most of the businesses were not black. Second of all, it was one street where all of this stuff happened. And this sister right here had a bakery store, and they vandalized her place. I don't even think the extent of the damage was that great because they never talked about it. She raised $236,000. This sister's going to be all right. We might have to tear some shit up in order to be heard. But we are being protected. There is a divine mind and a creator that is always with us, protecting us. This sister's going to be all right. So the Pumpkin Festival, they keep calling our young people thugs and saying that, you know, we riot and we loot and we don't know how to take care of our community. Ain't nobody talking about the fact that in April, these white thugs went out, turned over cars, burned up the city, burned up the streets, threw bottles at police. Nobody got attacked by the police. They didn't come through with militarized weaponry, and they burned the damn city up in October 2014. Why are we not talking about this? We should be busting back at them for talking about our young people. So after Mike Brown's killing, the Negroes set up a voter registration right literally like maybe 10 feet from where his body was laid out. In front of the makeshift memorial where Mike Brown was killed, they've set up a voter registration table, and voting numbers increase in Ferguson as a result. Voting is not going to fix this. Voting is not going to fix this. We have been voting. The system is set up to make sure that we fail. So you can put your energy and effort into that if that's what you want to do, but stop telling our people that this is the answer, that this is what's going to fix it. No, this is part of what got us into this position in the first place, putting too much damn energy into this system.
But that's part of the psyop. That's part of the psychological.
Exactly, to make you feel like you can do something, to have some sort of impact, to make change. The lie of democracy. So Common, with Mike Brown's parents and the entire audience at BET, after Common performs with Jay Electronica, and I forget who this other brother is, everybody goes on stage and puts their hands up and holds their hands up for a minute. Put your fucking hands down. Why are we, do you know how weak and pathetic this looks to the world? How submissive we look? We begging for justice. And look what this turns out to be. Look at these young people in the streets with their hands up. Hands up, don't shoot. We trivializing our own lives, and we teaching our young people to be weak and to be scared. So Benjamin Crump, the new black people's hero, he just picked up Tamir Rice's case. And you saw that Akai Gurley's family told him, nope, we don't know. Al Sharpton, I'm sorry, told Al Sharpton, we don't want to have nothing to do with you. Thank God. But he's always there. CI7 is his informant name. So Benjamin Crump now is 0-2, and now Tamir Rice has his family has hired them to take on their case. Where did this dude come from? When did he become the black people's champion? And why can't he take a few speech therapy lessons to be able to talk without sounding like he got spit in his mouth?
Mm-hmm. Now, you know, I didn't know Akai Gurley family told Al Sharpton.
No, they told him we no parts of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here we have Anonymous, Ku Klux Klan and Ferguson police ties exposed by Anonymous. We need to be very mindful anytime saviors come talking about they have our best interest at hand. Because Anonymous originally put out the wrong name of the wrong police officer. And then they swept that under the rug. I had a bunch of videos showing anonymous and kind of giving a timeline of where they came from and who exactly they may be. We don't have time to get into all of that. But I see our people posting information by anonymous like we have new saviors now. No, we don't even know who this is. So this is a video. It's real short. It's part of a longer video. The longer video is called Army Trains to Combat Black Americans. But this video shows there's a place called the Guardian Center in Arizona. And it is a huge property where they do all type of, what's the word I'm looking for? Tragic training. Yeah, you know, they have drills, exactly. They have a area where the houses are flooded so they can go and rescue people. This is just a short clip of this video where it shows, well, let's take a look at it.
Big army.
Hold on, let me start it over.
Let's look at some of these patches, Joe. All right, so some of the video right here you're going to see is pretty disturbing. Actual big army out here training to put people into FEMA camps, essentially.
Okay, let's try this one more time.
Let's look at some of these patches, Joe.
All right, so some of the video right here you're going to see is pretty disturbing. Actual big army out here training to put people into FEMA camps, essentially. You will have them taking them into custody, detaining them, and handing them over to police to be held. So right here we have a 3rd Infantry Division patch. You'll also see a 1st Armored Division, which is out of El Paso, Texas. And then you'll see a 1st Cavalry Division patch as well. Helicopters coming in, soldiers. It looks fine and dandy. Then you got the concertina wire right here. Soldier, white guy, actually fighting an African-American citizen, getting her, trying to detain her until the cops can come and put her in a camp. And there you go. This is what's happening right now in our backyard every day.
And then as you watch longer, they're all black. Look, you got black guys right there.
Yeah, they're the only ones that flip over cars and go and riot, apparently.
Then they burn it.
These centers are popping up everywhere right now. The one that we saw in Virginia. There's the Marine base one now that looks more like a rural suburbia kind with the churches and all that as well. And now we have this. This is even more in-depth. This is completely mind-blowing. It gives me chills watching this to see the lengths they're going to, the training they have that they're going through to bring this to our country on our streets.
And I can just hear the people. Is my mic on? I can just hear people saying, well, Alex Jones is an agent. Why are you showing Alex Jones?
That's what they say. Oh, yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, like the situation that we're in right now, we need to be studying everybody. We need to be taking information because we just saw what they just showed on the video take place in Ferguson. And as far as the people in the chat room, you know, who talking about negatively about me, join the club. Join the club. Get in line. But stop talking about the people on the field and get on the field and actually make something happen. This video right here, police throw small bombs into a crowd of protesters. They did that. You know what I'm saying? This just happened in Ferguson. So when we talk about, let me stand back up. When we talk about white police officers and the issues that they have with brothers, the dude Norm Stamper is telling us. He wrote a book called Breaking Rank. He says he has a chapter called Why White Cops Kill Black Men. He said white cops are afraid of black men. We don't talk about it. We pretend it doesn't exist. We claim colorblindness. We say white officers treat black men the same way they treat white men. That's a lie. In fact, the bigger, the darker, the blacker the man, the greater the fear. The African American community knows this. Hell, most whites know it. Yes, even though it's a central, if not the defining ingredient in the makeup of police racism, white cops won't admit it to themselves or to others. And the question is, are we preparing our sons with this information right here? So Frances Cress Welsing in her book talks about the gun and how white men considered a gun to be the equalizer to the black man's penis. She said there's a Western expression that says God did not create all men equal, but Colonel Colt did, referring to the Colt revolver. She gave the breakdown of the black male genitalia. Then she turned it to the side, and then she turned it to the other side, and she gave this final analysis and goes into the science of it. She says, to the extent that the guns manufactured and made by the white collective in the context of white supremacy were used against blacks and other genetically dominated colored people on earth, they became the answer to the great fear of white genetic annihilation. The gun became not only the weapon, the developed technology to ensure white genetic survival, but it also became the symbolic white penis. Thus, it is no accident that white males often refer to one another as son of a gun. This is symbolically determined pattern of speech, and I am certain that white males who use it have not understood in depth why a phrase entered and remains in their minds. This phrase deprecates the white male genitalia apparatus that fathers white people with their genetically deficient state of albinism. It says instead that the white male prefers the gun to be his phallus and the phallus of his father. The gun then becomes the desired all-powerful phallus of the white male, which he conceives of as being an equalizer to the phallus of the black and other non-white males. This is what we need to be teaching our sons. I told the young brothers when we were in North Carolina a couple of weeks ago, when they look at you, they see God. That's why they're so scared of you. And they know that science has already shown and proven that our people are the original people of the Creator. That you can genetically wipe out all other races. That's why they're so upset with you. Can you imagine if we armed all the young brothers on the street to be able to understand this when they walk in and interact with police officers? We talked about the bullyish behavior already with Pharrell Williams, so I'm not going to go back over that. This is a video. I'm not going to show this. I'm going to move past it. But I'm asking the sisters, because this white woman did this interview and talked. She said, I am Darren Wilson. And she talked about the fact how they are supporting him. This is before the autopsy came out.
That's powerful right there. You got to play that.
On behalf of the local supporters around the world, for publicly displaying your support for Officer Darren Wilson. We are not speaking on behalf of Officer Darren Wilson or his appointed representatives. We are speaking solely on behalf of the online campaign titled Support Darren Wilson. Our mission is to formally declare that we share the united belief that Officer Wilson's actions on August 9th were warranted and justified, and he has our unwavering support. We believe that the evidence has and will continue to validate our position. We want to thank the media for finally highlighting the other side of this story. However, the media has shown a strong bias against the supporters of Darren Wilson.
That's white folks, y'all. See that?
We believe this has only intensified the destruction of the community of Ferguson and the surrounding St. Louis areas. We are exclusively here to support Darren Wilson, and we have no desire to engage in the negativity and hate which has paralyzed Officer Wilson's ability to pursue justice. Many of us have received death threats against ourselves and our families. Contrary to media suggestions, we are not affiliated with any hate groups. However, we respect each individual's First Amendment rights in this country. We will not hide. We will no longer live in fear. We ask this question: can justice ever be attained if one side's supporters are living in fear of speaking out? If you support Darren Wilson, make your voices heard. Call or write Governor Jay Nixon and demand that this bias stops now. The media will have to earn the trust of the Support Darren Wilson group. Stop drawing maps to houses, broadcasting in front of parties' homes, knocking on their families' doors, putting people's lives at risk. This is unethical, poor journalism, and a travesty to this case. At the end of this statement, the media will inevitably ask for my name, others' names and relationships, job titles, stories, etc. You want my name? My name is Darren Wilson. We are Darren Wilson. Thank you.
So my question to the sisters is, where are we at? We see their position. We see them defending their men. Before the evidence was even out, before the autopsy was out, they supported the officer and what he was doing. That's not even his wife. So, you know, where are we at as far as being vocal, as far as letting our sons and our daughters see what our position on this is, as far as countering that? So that same website raised over $500,000, and of course he got paid $500,000 for the ABC News interview. So this devil's a millionaire now.
Damn, man. That's what I was just telling Griff. They reward.
Yeah.
You know, the same cop that killed Eric Garner.
Exactly.
He got rewarded. What's my man's name? George Zimmerman.
Yeah, got rewarded. Exactly. The officer in Oklahoma who is standing to be charged with the rapes of all of those sisters, they started a GoFundMe page for him. He raised $7,000 before they shut it down. And they shut it down immediately because it was so, you know, blasphemous. But we got schools that barely can keep their doors open, you know, and they putting together $1 million at the drop of a hat.
But see, we ask for little donations to help keep the movement alive.
Right.
And we want to cry about, oh, why we got to pay money?
Exactly.
Why
No, real talk. Hey, everybody's a revolutionary until it's time to cut the check.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
So the brother Free put a post up on his page, and I don't have the exact name to credit it properly, but it said, "You go to war to win, not to say I was there." We had people in Ferguson who were taking pictures in front of the convenience store where Mike Brown had his little altercation and posting pictures online. People actually coming now, well, where were you at? I was in Ferguson. Where were you? What did you do when you were in Ferguson?
Came and took a picture.
You know what I'm saying? You weren't even there. What did you do? It's brothers and sisters getting killed everywhere across this country. It's a war going on in every single city. So just to say I was there in Ferguson on some, 1964 civil rights type, this is history. Everybody keeps saying this is history. Brothers getting killed every day.
Shout out to my sister, Melanin Sutek in the building.
My sister.
Yeah,
Peace, Queen.
She said, kill a nigga, get rich. Kill a nigga, get money.
Exactly.
No, I said peace.
Professor, say she can hear you.
Peace, Queen.
Peace, sister. How you feel? I hope you still holding it down. I know she is.
Yeah, she can hear you. Melanin Sutek gonna hear you.
So what's the end game for the Civil Rights Movement Part 2? So if we're in the Civil Rights Movement Part 2, can we basically say that Part 1 didn't work?
Hell yeah.
Is that what that amounts to?
That's what it's saying.
Let's be clear. We do not represent civil rights in 2014. We are not taking that same route and going through the same shit that they went through and ending up with the same results that they ended up with. No.
Talk about human rights.
Exactly. Opposed to civil rights. We are directing our young people and all of our people, get out of the streets protesting and marching with your hands up and laying down on the ground. If you want to protest and march, do it like a man. Do it like a woman, straight up, demanding that they respect you, demanding that they look you in your face. And protesting and marching and boycotting is not going to fix the problem. It will make a statement, yes. Make the statement. But it's not going to fix the problem. We are not in Civil Rights Movement Part 2. We are totally going to have to change the game if we're going to win this. And I'm going to end with this video from these young brothers in protest and these young brothers out in Ferguson, just to let you know that we are not going to be making the same mistakes that we made in the 1960s. We stand on that experience, but this is what's representing us from here forward.
As madness was breaking out all over Ferguson, I thought to myself, I gotta be there. Is America a racist country?
Fuck yeah.
Totally racist?
Hell yeah.
To the bone.
You racist.
Why?
Because you white.
If I'm white, racist?
Yeah.
Could a black person be racist?
Nope.
It's impossible a black person be racist?
Yeah.
But if you hate white people, does that make you racist?
We don't hate white people. Y'all the devil.
Whoa. It's a racist country?
Yeah. We not racist. Your kind of racist, though.
My kind?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a racist country.
Totally racist country?
Totally racist.
Man, America is built on racism.
Because when y'all go back to y'all hotel room, they be like, oh, the nigga with the rag on his face is funny.
Yeah.
You can be my friend in my face, but when you get on your peers, I know you call me a nigga.
You think that's what I do?
Yeah.
Black? Have you experienced racism?
What?
Is he black?
Oh my God!
Is he black?
Bro, I done got this. Let me tell you this.
if they wanted peace, have you seen any violence since you've been down there? Cameraman, have you seen any violence since you've been down there? What's not peaceful about this? What's not peaceful?
Why guys here?
To fuck shit up. We here with the shit. To fuck shit up.
This is the facts, man. Or should we just been down here?
Yeah, they should have, man. He know, man, he did wrong, man. He should have been indicted. He should have been fucking killed, goddamn.
Should Darren Wilson be executed?
He should be hung. Straight up. On the real shit.
What should we do, Darren Wilson?
Kill him? Man, you know what? I would have gave Darren Wilson the same treatment as a young brother out here who did the same thing. Yeah.
What's that?
Expedited justice.
Is there been justice?
Hell no. Not at all.
No?
Not even one bit.
We asked you. Want my honest opinion?
I want you to know.
I don't know the answer. I want to find out.
No. It didn't go to trial. It didn't go to trial.
World is in uproar. How the fuck don't you know the answer? How the fuck don't you know the answer? The whole country is in a uproar. For the simple fact that you don't know the answer is fucked up. Go join them. Go join them. What the fuck are you interviewing us for?
Let him go. Let him get it right. You know what he's talking about.
He's not.
Nah, man.
Even though he went in that liquor store.
Man, they don't make him a thug, man. It don't matter at all, man. And he was a good dude.
Barack Obama's been president for 6 years.
Man, come on now.
What are you doing to stop racism?
You know what? That's why I'm going to end that because I don't have nothing to say. I don't got nothing good to say about it.
What has Barack Obama done to help the black people in America?
Man, I don't know. We don't know.
What's he done for you? What's he done for you?
Not a damn thing.
I'm a Jewish person. You don't think it's Jewish?
I'm Jewish. I'm the real Jew. I'm from the tribe called Judah. You're not Jewish.
I'm Jewish, man.
You're not Jewish.
I pray 2 times a day.
You're not Jewish.
I coach.
You see these black people out here, we the real Jews.
Not really, no.
Yeah.
They waking up.
This conversation is done.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And we're gonna end it with that. That's what we're talking about. We the Jews, we the Hebrew Israelites, we the Moors, we the Muslims, we the Christians, we the gods of this world. So stop being tenants and thinking like tenants and let's start thinking like landlords. Peace and love, family.
Hey, Sister Melanie Suchek wanted to call in. We waiting on you, Queen, before they break out. Right. You gotta come on. You gotta come on, Sister Melanin. Yeah, that was powerful right there.
Thank
All
you,
right.
brother. We came full circle.
Yeah.
Me and you.
Right. Yeah, that right there was powerful. You know what I'm saying, family? And see, the white man the white man and woman, they ain't got a problem with supporting their own. They support their murderers, they killers. You know what I'm saying? This is what I always think, Professor Griff. See if I'm on it or what. When the police kill a black man, I don't think they donating that money. I think they already got them checks ready and made up. Say, yo, it's your turn to go out and carry this ritual. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about that right there?
That's part of that fraternal order that we were talking about. This is the thing that they have. Let me say, they got money in their coffers already. We already know that. For things just like this to happen. You understand what I'm saying? Right. They got money set aside. These officers belong to this fraternal order, and then they have other organizations that they belong to. I think we were talking the other day about the fraternal order police and how they linked into the Masons. These people got organizations, man, that they're constantly paying dues to, and they have money set up for. And they could persuade the vast majority of the thinking of white people by using the media. Because they got their Masonic brothers all up in with the alphabet boys. So it's nothing for them to put $400,000 together. All right, good brother. We really appreciate this. Professor Griff, Zaza Ali from Enemy Minds Radio. Peace on SaneterTv.